Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you guys with the most up-to-date political, economic and geostrategic analysis on the world's number 2 economy. My name is Tony. Let's jump in. Okay, happy Monday everybody. I hope you all had a good weekend. My apologies in advance. This episode is quite heavy, but it's material that we need to be covering. Hopefully tomorrow's episode will be a little bit lighter. But with that said, let's move into it. Officials are racing to stamp out cases as the country faces yet another resurgence of outbreaks, being driven by the outbreak of the highly transmissible BA.5 Omicron subvariant. Restrictions and lockdowns are being reintroduced on an exhausted population across the country. According to recent research from Japanese investment bank Nomura, 11 major PRC cities are now under full or partial lockdowns, affecting over 114 million people. The ancient city of Xi'an, population 13 million, famous of course for the terracotta warriors, entered a so-called circuit breaker last week to exercise itself of the BA.5 subvariant. Large parts of the city are now under de facto lockdown or tight restrictions. The economy of the city was already in pretty bad shape leading into this new period of lockdowns and restrictions. We remember that the city last year had to go through over a month of tight lockdowns. Cases in Shanghai continue to climb as parts of the financial hub face more rounds of mass testing, after a cluster of more than 70 COVID cases was linked to a KTV, or karaoke bar. Officials are struggling to rein in cases just weeks after reopening from a 2-month lockdown and declaring victory against the virus. The city recorded 69 new infections for Sunday, the most since late May, and up from 57 the day before. BA.5 has also been discovered in the city. The reintroductions of restrictions have been very demoralizing for a frustrated population hoping for normalization. We'll be touching on some of the social effects of these lockdowns and restrictions on the Shanghai population shortly. Markets are not pleased either, with China's stock benchmark, the CSI 300 index, falling as much as 1.3% this morning. Small outbreaks are also being reported in Shandong province in the north and Hainan and Guangdong provinces in the south, where movement restrictions and testing have been introduced now too. Meanwhile, Macau, which is undergoing its worst COVID-19 outbreak yet, on Saturday announced a week-long closure of all non-essential businesses, including casinos, starting today, Monday. This is the first time in 2 years that the gambling hub has closed its critical casinos. The city's chief executive on Saturday issued the executive order, with supermarkets, restaurants, pharmacies and other essential services remaining open but restricted. Casino taxes account for more than 80% of the local government's revenue, and Macau's gambling industry had already been hit hard by the pandemic, with gambling revenue falling 68% year-on-year in May. So the decision to close the casinos over the weekend is very much a big deal. A Bloomberg gauge of the city's 6 licensed casino operators fell as much as 6.3% in early trading today, Monday, and is down 20% this year, and is down much more if we trace it from the beginning of the pandemic. Now across the bay from the Macau Special Administrative Region, the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region late last week warned of a 2-fold jump in infections within weeks. On Thursday, daily cases reached 3,000, one of the highest levels in months. The cost of lockdowns and restrictions due to zero COVID policy measures have been massive in economic terms. But one of the costs that is much harder to quantify, of course, is the human or social cost, and especially the toll on mental health. In recent weeks, downtown Shanghai has seen several incidents of brutal attacks and violence, including knife attacks in public areas in broad daylight. Anecdotally, some residents have expressed that they feel like violence has increased and that the lockdowns and continued restrictions are fueling this antisocial behavior. Now, we currently do not have reliable data, and thus we are unable to draw this conclusion conclusively. It could simply be that the timing of these recent attacks is coincidental or caused by some other factor, or it could simply be that the number of incidents is typical and people are simply paying closer attention currently. Nevertheless, the attacks are noteworthy and we will continue to follow them. The most recent attack was 2 days ago. On Saturday, over the weekend, at least 5 people, including children and medical staff, were injured in a knife attack and hostage attempt at a prestigious hospital in downtown Shanghai. According to an official statement from district police, the attack started around 11 a.m. on the second floor of the hospital's outpatient department. Police shot and injured the man upon finding him holding several people hostage at knife point. The suspect at this point had moved to the 7th floor. Multiple witnesses speaking to local media and posting on social media said that the man was, in the words of one witness, stabbing everyone in sight. Some witnesses have also expressed that the number of injured victims was higher than the official 5 people, though it appears that none of their injuries were life-threatening. China has seen a number of attacks against medical staff in hospitals in recent years. Between 2009 and 2018, 362 medical staff, including doctors and nurses, were injured and 24 killed in 295 incidents. Attackers normally use knives, but homemade explosives have been employed also. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content, although perhaps enjoy is not the best word, if you're getting some value from the videos, don't forget to hit the like button, and for anybody who wants to go the extra mile, as always, Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are in the description below. This is also a tremendous help for the channel. As always, thank you so much everybody for the ongoing support. Now, on this theme of violence, the ongoing Henan bank freeze scandal has taken yet another unfortunate turn over the last few days. Yesterday, Sunday, victims of what could end up being one of China's most far-reaching financial scandals staged a protest in front of the Zhengzhou sub-branch of the People's Bank of China. Approximately 1,000 demonstrators gathered to demand their money back from the provincial banks who had frozen their accounts. Demonstrators have staged several demonstrations in the city, the provincial capital of Henan, over the past 2 months. For yesterday's protest, most people arrived outside the bank before dawn to avoid being intercepted by authorities. Regulators have not confirmed the exact amount of money that has been frozen, but depositors claim that at least tens of billions of yuan has been frozen. In leaked videos of the demonstration, we can see people holding banners, reading slogans like "Henan banks, give me back my money," and calling on the central government to investigate the banks. Unsurprisingly, the videos and hashtags related to the protest yesterday were censored online. Now, after a few hours of this event, videos show that demonstrators surrounded by local police began to be beaten by unidentified men wearing white t-shirts and black pants. One source, speaking to Hong Kong-based South China Morning Post, expressed, quote, "The people in white started physically dragging people away and beating up the protesters." End quote. Another source, a woman 9 weeks pregnant, speaking to the same outlet, expressed that 5 people in white shirts had surrounded her, pressed her head down and tried to drag her away. Quote, "In the end, we were dragged into a bus. I had more than 1 million yuan in the banks. If they don't give me my money back, I won't be able to raise my baby." End quote. Late yesterday evening, the Henan banking regulator issued a statement saying, quote, "Authorities are coming up with a plan to deal with the issue, which will be announced in the near future." End quote. On China Update, we will continue to follow this scandal as it develops. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. Thank you so much everybody for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.